Why is it so hard for me to be happy? It can be extremely frustrating when we can't figure out and nail down the reason why we can't be happy. And today I'm going to go over some mental reframes and 3 main points related to this. My name's Chris Richardson. I'm a coach here at Life on Your Terms, and I make these videos here so you can do exactly that. You can live a life on your terms. So why is it so hard for me to be happy? Well, I think there's 3 things that are going to contribute to that. Those being mental roadblocks and how they are stopping you, social and environmental factors and how they may be affecting you, and then I'm going to talk about the brutal truth and instant hacks related to that. And you're going to want to stick around because I think the 3rd point is actually the most important. So, mental roadblocks and how they are affecting you. What do I mean by that? Well, the first thing I think you need to look at is negative thought patterns. And with those negative thought patterns, we need to identify and challenge what those are. What do negative thought patterns look like? Well, if you're being overly hard on yourself, and to fix that, think about the advice you'd give to your best friend. How would you treat them? And then treat yourself with the same kindness, and you may realize that you're being overly hard on yourself. Because with your best friend, you'd identify what are they doing wrong, but what are they doing right? And then also how to move forward. You wouldn't only be focused on the negative. Also, a simple hack is that if you're being super negative about a situation, simply flip it. I know that can be difficult, but think about all the positive, and that can help move things forward a little bit. The second thing is unresolved emotions. Maybe you feel some anger, some grief, or some resentment, and those things can linger for a long time. And so I have 3 things that you can consider. You could consider therapy, and you just need to do the research to find a great therapist that works for you. You could do journaling. Sometimes our mind can be our best friend or our worst enemy, and being able to journal it out and get it out of our heads can help us get rid of some of those emotions and feel a lot better about it. So I'd encourage you to journal. And then also mindfulness. Mindfulness can be super helpful, and that can bring you to the present. Now, what is mindfulness? Basically, it's finding a way to bring yourself to the present moment, because anxiety lives in the future, depression lives in the past, and if we could bring ourselves to the present moment, we tend to feel a lot better. So I like to do the body scan method, where you start at your feet and you just think about all the physical sensations you have all the way up to your head. And then also I like to do sensory stuff. So what am I feeling on my arms? What am I seeing? Stuff like that. Both those help you bring you to the present, kind of calm you down if you're stressed out or whatever it may be. Now, the 3rd thing related to mental roadblocks is perfectionism. Now, perfectionism was huge for me. So I have a little story about it. So when I was in high school and college, I struggled so bad with perfectionism. I mean, I was a 4.0 student in high school and college, and if I got a 99% on a test, I would only be only concerned about the 1% I missed. And that killed me, killed my spirit, killed my happiness, stuff like that. So what I had to cognitively do and override was, instead of considering only what I was doing wrong, I had to cognitively override and think about what am I doing right. And I had to do that for about 6 months to actually make progress of getting that. So it took a long time, but I've noticed that perfectionism was a huge mental roadblock in my life, and maybe it's a huge mental roadblock in yours as well that can affect happiness. So those are the mental roadblocks and how they could stop you. Again, negative thought patterns, unresolved emotions, and perfectionism. Those are the 3 biggest things I've noticed. Now, the second, what are social and environmental factors that could be affecting your happiness? Well, number 1, social comparison. It can be very difficult when you're constantly comparing yourself to others, their success, stuff like that. What I would encourage you to do, take that focus and bring it back to yourself. And I actually have a sticky note that says the work is the goal. And that's from Alex Hormozy, and it's one of my favorite sayings because it's helped me get out of that social comparison mindset. When I was about 19 or 20, I really struggled with social comparison. So what I had to do is I had to cognitively make the shift from looking at other people's successes to just only looking at my work, not even my outcomes. So I'm only focused on the quality and the quantity of my work, and that's what I try to improve week over week. I don't worry about anything else in terms of work. It's just quality, quantity, and time, and the work is the goal. Focus on that. Was I 1% better than last week? And that's been fruitful and helpful for me, and maybe it will be for you too. Now, the second thing that could be affecting your happiness is toxic relationships. Now, toxic relationships, first you need to identify, is this person pulling away from my success and my happiness, or are they helping me with my success and happiness? And if you find that they're pulling away, first you could try to start talking with them about this. And with family, you're definitely gonna have to do this because family's probably not going anywhere. So I would encourage you to talk with them. With friends, you have a few options. If you care about the relationship, you could talk about it with them. If you don't care about the relationship, you can just stop hanging out with them, and eventually distance will be created. So it's important to set boundaries on these relationships if they don't contribute to the success, or have a conversation to try to figure out, because maybe the person doesn't even realize it. So those are a few options you can do with toxic relationships. Now, the third thing is just simply environmental stressors. Clutter, noise, or schedule can really affect your mental health and your happiness. So for example, I was the clutter man for years, where I just had clutter everywhere. And I would notice I would feel so much better, so much calmer when that clutter was cleared. Also, noise. I don't like noise. I like to be in quiet environment, and that helps me feel at peace. Also, a schedule. It's important to have a schedule that you could follow. At least I like schedule a lot. That consistency is what I thrive off of. So if you feel the same way, it's important to set those things. So again, with social factors, it was relationships, environmental stressors, and social comparison, and those three things can kill your happiness. Now, what was that brutal truth I was talking about at the beginning? Well, the brutal truth on why it may be so hard for you to be happy is that you're concerned, and so concerned, with only happiness. It's important as humans for us to feel a wide variety of emotions. To only be concerned about happiness eliminates all other emotions, saying that those emotions are not okay, which puts you in a perpetual state of being unsatisfied, because as a human, you will be sad, you will be mad, and you will be stressed, and you will be happy. So with those, you can't just always push those away. I've been there, I promise you. I have been at the point where I'm only worried about happiness. The mental shift and framework I had to adopt is not about why am I not happy or how can I be happy. I had to shift to what am I doing to make the most out of my life? Because am I happy to wake up early or go to the gym every day? No, not at all. There's some days I don't want to go to the gym, but I still do, because that is making the most out of my life. So I'd encourage you to make that shift. So instead of being so worried about happiness, start to be so worried about making the most out of your life. Long term, you're gonna feel happy. Because if you're on your 100-year deathbed, and you look back and you're like, all I did was worry about happiness, I didn't do all the things and accomplish all the things I want. Whereas if you were concerned about making the most out of your life, you're gonna look back and you're gonna feel great about what you did. So that's the brutal truth. Now, I also said I had some instant hacks for you. The instant hacks I have is there's 3 things you can do to instantly make yourself feel better. Those being exercise. Exercise has a myriad of benefits to the mental, and you just feel better when you're building stuff. So exercise is number 1. Think about all the things you're grateful for. Sometimes I just have to look around in my apartment and realize, wow, Chris, I am so grateful for the opportunities I've had and the situation I am in. And that makes me feel a lot better as well. And the third thing you can do is volunteer. And even better, volunteer for someone less fortunate than you. Because then you'll be grateful for all the things you have, and you get to help someone out. What's better than that? So being able to volunteer, even if it's a friend, hey, I got some time today, man, do you need help with anything? And your friends will be like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing. Like, they'll probably take you up on it with whatever it is. So being able to help them out or help someone less fortunate than you will make you feel so good. So again, exercise, gratitude, and volunteering. Those 3 things are amazing for happiness. Now, the third thing is mindfulness and presence. I talked about mindfulness a little bit earlier, but being mindful and bringing yourself to the present can help you be happy and help you appreciate the things around you.